Hey, welcome to my math class. I'm putting this video together just to kind of give you a brief overlook of what's going to come at you via my website. This is going to be the place that you want to check on a pretty regular basis, especially if you are a person who has gone for activities, or let's just say you're sick or you have a family thing come up for whatever reason. And even if you're in class, this is a good place to look for notes and things like that. So um, this is going to be kind of a brief description of what I have here. So if you see here, I'm going to update the announcements weekly, brief site description. Obviously, I have an old video posted there. This will replace it. Um, and then you see kind of the Cozad community schools district mission, values, and beliefs. Feel free to take a look through that and kind of have an idea of what the school is supposed to stand for and things that we believe in. Class expectations for any of the classes that I teach. Some key websites that we use. Big Ideas is really the big one. We do a majority of our assignments through a website. Again, this is to help you guys get immediate feedback on what you're doing rather than have to wait for me to do the grading. You guys can get immediate feedback. I've had a lot of kids express concerns that they don't really like doing the homework on a device, but the homework is not meant to be done on a device. Everything that you do in this class should still be on a piece of paper with a pencil, whether it's graphing or solving equations, anything like that. So I will expect you to bring class utensils on a daily basis. And if you need a calculator for the lesson that we're doing, some of us will get into some trig functions. It's kind of hard to do sine, cosine, and tangent without a calculator. So make sure that not only device comes to class, but also your paper and pencil. This is the course codes. And again, this schedule is this year's schedule. So next year, 2017 fall, it will be different. This is my 2016 fall schedule. Schoology, I'll probably remove this before too long. We probably won't use this near as much now that I have this Google site. But if there is something in terms of notating that I want you to mark, I may have you submit it to Schoology if it's an easier route for some of us. Highly doubtful though, more than likely I'll have you use Google Classrooms. Khan Academy, and again, the course codes there will be different here before too long. So don't use the course codes from the video, but use the course codes that will be posted on your current class website. This will be updated, obviously. But Khan Academy is one of those that a lot of times students overlook as a valuable resource. Many times kids could honestly get by in a lot of classes, not just mine, but they could do things ahead and learn skills in a different way if they use this resource. And not only Khan Academy, but YouTube and things like that have just a vast amount of resources out there. So you could really take what you're doing in terms of your knowledge and your learning into your own hands, whether that's my math class or just anything on down the road. So keep this Khan Academy site in mind when you're struggling with something. Don't just sit there frustrated. Utilize this resource. You don't even necessarily need to sign up for my class. If you do that, though, what I will see is that you put in the time to explore those other options for learning the material, and I'll see that you put forth that effort. So when you come to me and let's say you struggled on an exam or a quiz, and you come to me and say, I've done this, this, and this, well, I can go to Khan Academy if you sign up for me as a coach, and I can see that you did put in some time. And you don't have to answer questions. There's the option to practice questions on there, but even watching the videos will show up and register time for you. So keep that in mind if you're struggling with a certain concept. I don't foresee that happening very often in my classes, but if it does, that's always an avenue you can go. Google Classroom, again, the videos codes probably won't be current, but you will sign up for my Google Classroom just so I can get you all in there. This is a place where I can get resources to you such as notes, videos, and things like that. Also, your Google Calendar, and I'll talk about that more here in a minute. Your Google Calendar will be there. And that's just something that will be a constant reminder of what we have coming. The nature of a math class is one of those where you're going to have to do some homework from time to time. I try not to assign too much homework, but when I do, it'll show up what you're needing to do in those Google Calendars and in that Google Classroom. And then you have this Edge shelf. This was more user friendly for iPads. It probably won't be a thing. But on that Edge shelf, if you click on it, there are some resources that you can probably use with any device that are pretty useful. I know in particular I have Desmos on the Edge shelf, and I have GeoGebra that are two very useful apps as you go forward in my class. Whether it's pre-algebra or algebra 2, those are two pretty useful apps from time to time. And PowerSchool here at the bottom of the page, you guys, I can't stress enough that you need to be checking PowerSchool on a regular basis, especially if you're gone. What my policy is with missing things, whether you're gone for an activity or anything, what I do just to help myself remember to get it in is I just put in a 0 and I mark it as a 0. But as soon as you turn it in, I put the grade in once you email me. So let's say, for instance, that we're in Algebra 1. Now, here's an example. Most of these pages will look pretty similar. But if we look at Algebra 1, okay, the announcements for this week, and it should be in your Google Calendar as well, are look over homepage, look over course outline, again, things like class expectations and such. And then if I go to the fall here, when we're going to start school, pardon me, if you look, we have the week 1 class introductions, and you're supposed to be looking over task 1. If you look right here, so there's that week in the Google Calendar, but if we scroll on down, I have a video uploaded here and kind of a brief outline of what's to come through the whole year. And just to give you a kind of a glance at what we're going to do just in this specific class, again, each one of the classes off to the side over here are going to be a little bit different. But if we look, let's first off start with the schedule. Every time we go into a new class, you should have access to this. If you don't, let me know. My screen is going to be a little different than yours, obviously, because I can edit this, but you should be able to view this. So if you look, we have opening day assignments. Get signed into all these get into all these websites that you're going to need for my class. Make sure you bookmark the important ones for my class, and then on down the line, look over and know the district vision, values, and mission, class expectations, things like that. There might be like a little quiz over those things on Thursday or Friday for the first week. Obviously, we're going to be doing some things like practicing, understanding how to take notes and do proper things like that in my class. And then if you look on into the task 1 schedule, here's what we're doing. We're going to learn how to solve simple equations, and then moving on into multi-step and so on. And then along with that, we have a book assignment here to the right. If you choose to do all of it on paper pencil, that's fine. This will also be uploaded into Big Ideas though for that immediate feedback. So this, and over to the left, is a tentative date. Hopefully this is what we stick to. If we get off track, that's fine, but this is kind of where I'm planning to be by a certain day. Also, I have the state standards here. And then in these videos, I should have the objective, like what should I know by the end of this video, what should I be able to do? The task kind of talks about that too, but another thing will be, making sure that we have an objective there. Again, you see quizzes and tests in our schedule. We do have work days in our schedule. As you see, the material get harder. We'll have more work days. I know that I try my best to avoid giving kids too much homework. I don't expect you guys to take this home to your parents and have them help you with your homework for 2 hours a night at the kitchen table. I'd like you to be able to do your homework, what's not done in class, in less than 30 minutes. So with that, I'm going to schedule 1, if not 2 work days in my class a week, and those work days are meant to be finishing up your homework, asking any clarifying questions, and asking any questions that you might have on what would be on the quiz, or what would certain material look like on the quiz. And then we have some interesting things that I'm trying to put together this year, hopefully for some bonus opportunities and maybe even for some alternative assessments. I have a lot of students express concerns that they're not very strong test takers, and who is? You know, it's a tough thing to sit down and really prove that you understand something. So I've given some higher order thinking opportunities, and I've got some of it put together for a few of my classes, but not all of my classes. I'm still working on that. So um, be kind of understanding here as I'm trying to put this all together. But you know, we have various things to prove that we understand various tasks, and some of them are kind of neat little things as you solve what you're supposed to be doing. Some of them will give you, for example, this task 4. As you solve these problems, you're actually creating a little picture, and so it's kind of neat to do some of these rather than doing a homework assignment. Or maybe I need some bonus, or maybe I want to put some bonus in the bank in hopes that it will help my grade out later on down the road. Some of those higher order thinking things are available. Um, in terms of what I expect in class, you know, really utilize this website, really utilize your resources. A lot of students don't understand that, you know, your teacher is not the only person that can help you. Many times I have neighbors help their classmates that do a really good job of maybe explaining something a little differently than I did in class. Maybe Khan Academy is a resource, YouTube is a resource. I'll upload videos to YouTube throughout the course of the year to kind of make this more of a blended learning experience for you. Let's say you're a kiddo who's in activities. I know in the spring we have several activities, especially, and if you guys think about this, in the spring it's the harder material. You're wrapping up the year, and then in the spring you've got kids involved with various activities where they're going to state and national competitions, and you know, track meets last all day, golf meets last all day. So really push yourself. If you're someone who you know you're going to be gone quite a bit, push yourself to get some of that stuff done in advance, and in hopes of me finishing this website. You know, that's kind of the goal with me here, is giving you the opportunity to not worry about being behind, not worry about struggling to stay caught up. You know, I have this happen every year where a kid is doing great, and let's say they're a B student, and if they're active, they're gone quite a bit. So in the spring, it happens more often. But let's say you're a B student and you're gone for three days a week or whatever, and your grade suffers for it. And I don't like to see that. So this is what I have this website up for. Some of you guys are going to be using this for different reasons. Again, this is for anybody who accesses this website, whether it's a parent or a student. Notice to the left here, I have various things going on here. Obviously, my classes up above are going to be a little bit different from these bottom two things, code and freshman seminar. Freshman seminar, you guys, I'm going to put kind of some activities and some suggestions and maybe some discussion board questions for you guys to look through in there, and have maybe a way to communicate with each other on that. Anyone has access to this website. Please, again, make sure that you check it on a regular basis. This is just kind of an intro and me walking you through it as we get signed into big ideas. For example, hopefully you guys can get a pretty good idea of how to operate that, but I just want to show you real quick. That's the big one that I want to make sure that you understand before we get to, before I wrap this video up, before we get too carried away in the class. Again, obviously your screen is going to look different than mine. I actually have a student account. Let's get signed in with him. So your student account will look kind of like this. You have a student dynamic ebook. This is where you're going to find your textbook. You can search straight through your device. Some of you have the ability to download it to your device, so you don't have to rely on the internet connection to have you have access to it. And then there's just multiple things here. Basic Skills Handbook, I might refer you to several times throughout the course of the year. Graphic organizers are great. The other really nice thing, if a kid wants to use some math tool paper, there are ways for you to get graph paper. If I don't have it in my room, or let's say you're at home trying to finish up an assignment, you have math tool paper here where you can do specific grids, or you can do smaller grids, and then even farther down you have tables, Venn diagrams, more tables. There's all kinds of resources in there. So again, don't neglect to use some of this stuff. And again, if you have any questions, Always email me. Feel free at any time. I try to do my very best to make sure that I'm accessible for you guys, whether it's a parent concern or a student concern. Please stay in touch with me and make sure that you express any concerns you have before things, get kind of out of hand. Thanks. Have a good year.